Hey guys, it's Sexy. Today I'm going to be doing a video where someone sent me a VOD of themselves playing Zarya, and they wanted just some tips and kind of feedback on the Zarya play. So I thought I'd record a video, basically me going through it and just talking about some of the mistakes I saw and some things I think could be improved on. The game is unfortunately a quick play game. It's against Zarya defense on Hollywood. And if I do this again, I'm going to try to do it in quick play, I mean in competitive, but this one is quick play. So let's start. You can see the Zarya starts up on the high ground here, which is, it's not really where you would play in general, but it's fine. Just start up here and just spam a bit. You can get some free poke as they come in. You can kind of see their comp as well. It's pretty hard to get picked to Zarya because of the shield and the health pool, so it doesn't really matter. Playing up here is a squishy. It's kind of risky because if they have like a Hanzo or like a Widowmaker or something, you can just kind of get suddenly killed. He uses the self shield and doesn't get any charge, which is unfortunate. And then he shields the other guy and gets 40, so that's good. One thing to be careful is like right here he's like spamming into the other Zarya's shields quite a lot, and like you can see she's already like really high charge, which isn't great. He uses shield there on the Symmetron of his team, which is doesn't really like. You want to make sure, like, so I'm gonna pause for a second, just talk about that. Like, so there the Symmetra was like kind of low, but she was also wasn't really in danger, and by that I mean that like, even though she was low, she wasn't in a position where she was going to take damage. Like, she was kind of behind some walls in the team, no one was in line of sight. So you don't really need the shield in that situation. Like, even if someone's at 1 HP, if they're not going to take any more damage, they're safe. So you can save the shield for someone else who might need it more. Here's another thing about like just watching her for feeding the range. That is Zarya. Like, she just got 40 full energy from that. Wall fighting here. There again, he keeps the Zarya shield, which is not great for energy. Here, so right there, what happens is he pushes in, which I think is okay because he's got his shield up. So he pushes in, tries to do some damage. Doesn't manage to get a kill on anyone, which happens. Like the Genji gets the Zarya shield and gets kind of pocketed, so he survives. But then what happens is they res behind him. So I think at that point, instead of trying to fall back straight towards point, I think it's better to actually fall back into this, like the second kind of connector room here that you see. Because like if you come back straight this way, like towards the point, you're gonna be in line of sight for the entire time. Everyone that's coming out of this doorway will be able to see you the whole time. If you end up falling back like this way instead, you start breaking line of sight on people. Like as soon as you get to like here, kind of, anyone in the room can't see you anymore. And then if you get here, no one out here can see you. And then you get around this corner, and no one here can see you anymore. So it makes it a lot harder for them to actually chase you down and kill you. That's something I think that's pretty important on Zarya. Like, there's a lot of matchups where you want to be playing around the line of sight and making people chase you, and as they chase you, you can be like spamming the ground in front of them with right clicks. In particular, like Tracer and like Reaper come to mind for that kind of thing. Anyone that's trying to chase you, really, and get up close. But yeah, so he ends up going down because he runs this way. I don't know if he would have lived anyway. He's gone the other way, but it's just might have helped. So moving forward. Charge has ult there and he gets killed, but she actually takes up the Mercy, so it's probably pretty worth. They have a TP. There's a shield which is like not a great one. You can see that like the Reaper's shifted and there's only a Mei, and Mei's not going to do that much damage. Like if he had shield up, shield's only coming up now, but if he could have shielded like here or like a second before, the Reaper could have been doing a lot more work in this group. Like he could have been staying there and like maybe getting the kill on the Rhine, or I think Genji's the other person there. But in general, like when you're playing Zarya, to make sure to just save your shields for times that they're actually like useful. Like it's one of the things you could use on cooldown, but if you have it up the right moment, it's much more effective. Yeah, you're the Reaper and decides to shift out because he thinks he's in danger, and like he can't get any more work. Anything done. Here it's a bit risky. Maybe falling back a bit sooner might have been better. If they'd been a bit more coordinated, they probably could have pushed that. Here you see, like, so positioning wise, I think here, what happens there is like, when you have your shield up as Zarya, you can play in the front line, and that's good to do. So like the way you want to kind of play as Zarya is like you want to trade with the front line in the sense that when you have your shield up, you're the one that's setting in front, and you can take some damage and like tank a bit. Versus when you don't have your shield up, you have the projected shield up, you want to be just kind of behind someone in the front line. And what you want to do is you want to be basically just trading back and forth. Like you want to just alternate those, so you always have someone in front, but they're pretty safe because they have your shield. So what happens there is like he's playing pretty far up with his shield up, which is good, but I think you need to fall back a bit sooner because you want to actually be falling back before your shield breaks, because otherwise you're in front with no shield still, and then it gets kind of risky. You can see him drop to like 200 health here. Lucio ends up beating anyways, and they get grabbed. So it's kind of like, I don't know how much it would have mattered in the end. If he'd fallen back sooner, I think it would have been better. And because they might not have been caught and grabbed then. Once they get grabbed, it's rough. They get gamed with, they don't really have anyone that can stop that. They have a Reaper ult though that kind of kills 2, and then Fair comes out with TP and saves the day. So right there as well, I'm not sure if the TP is up still, because I think they've taken quite a few charges off it, and the 2 more people went through it there. But like, if it's still up, I think the Symmetra and the Zarya should have gone through that TP, because when you start getting to like only 1 or 2 charges left, it's much better to actually use up the TP so you can start building another one. Because like if you use up the TP, you can start building another one, and like that way the next fight, it's not only the first person that can come back, it's like the entire team can come back instead. Because one person coming back faster probably won't matter at the end of the day, whereas having 6 back will obviously be way better. Right there about the shield usage there, that shield was kind of like, it's kind of a risky shield, if that makes sense, because the Reaper shifted, so he's not going to die to the dragon anyways, but he does still get a ton of energy from it. So it's kind of like he trades the cooldown of the saving an enemy or an ally thing for a ton of energy. Right now he's at 80 energy, which is like doing a lot of damage. You do want to be playing further back though, because you don't have your self shield up, and like they're starting to get in close. Like you can see like right here, even though he almost had grab, because he didn't have his shield up and the Ryan and Mei could like walk in on him, he's already down to 200 health here. Like he's already pretty lit. You want to be like maintaining that distance. As you see that even though he grabs and uses his own shield, they still manage to break it, and he gets frozen and dies. So that is definitely like one of the main like concepts about her, is like just being able to rotate back and forth appropriately. Like when you have your shield up, you play forward. When you don't, you play really far back, and you're like a backline character or like a mid-range kind of character. You want to be like, I think in general, I would say you want to be like around like the limit of your left click when you don't have your shields up. That's kind of a hard, like just as a kind of very rough rule of thumb. Like it's, you want to be far away though. They get the Zarya shield off, the Fair, which is good. They get the ult, much damage. They clean up this fight.
Zarya battle.
You see, like he's having a bit of trouble tracking, and I think part of it is his sense is really high. Like you can tell, like just from how jerky the mouse movements are, that like he's using a really high sensitivity, and like it's kind of up to the player. Like some people like high sense, some people don't. But in general, it's a lot easier to track the lower your sense is, because you can just be more consistent. But it's kind of a player preference thing. Like there's no necessarily right or wrong sense. I personally use, I think it's 1000 DPI and like 5 in-game sense. I think this guy, I think he uses like 1600 DPI and like 15 in-game sense, something like that. So it's like significantly higher. This is good. This is good, like falling back kind of range thing I was seeing. Like he's pretty far back, but he's doing damage as he's backing up. Now he's getting a little bit too close, maybe. But they're backing up anyway, so it's okay. He uses the grab there, which is okay. The dragon I don't think was necessary. Good shield. So a couple things happened there I'm gonna talk about quickly. So first of all, like the grab I think was a good grab. Like they're kind of backing out. It's kind of the point in a fight where like they could probably have won that fight without any ults. Like the ride shield was broken, they're backing up, some of them are kind of lit. Like it's probably one fight anyways. I think usually the grab is okay because it kind of secures the fight and make sure that they like have to do the full regroup. Like they're gonna get some kills, those guys are gonna respawn, they might be able to bleed some more people. It's gonna take a lot of time off the clock. So like using an ult I think to secure that is not bad. Using the dragon as well I think is kind of a mistake, because the guys in that ult were pretty dead anyways. I don't think they had any like defensive ults, and they were already like kind of in a bad spot. Like the Ryan shield was broken, so you could have just saved the dragon. After that, sorry, I'll just back a little bit and like I'm talking some way. Like, yes, use the dragon. Coming out of it, this shield is a really good one. Like that probably could have saved Lucio's life. He was pretty lit. And then like pushing up here is really good. Like you see the Zarya use her bubble, and he instantly swaps to the left to get to deal with the Hanzo. Like if you're not focusing a Zarya as a whole team, just ignoring her for the bubble is probably the best thing you can do. If you do decide to just break the bubble, that's okay too. But it's just kind of a matter of like, if you're gonna do that, you need your team to like help you commit to it. And usually it's easier to just like ignore the Zarya if you're in like comp or whatever. So they don't necessarily they won't necessarily your team won't necessarily follow up like that. I'm gonna jump back a sec as well. I want to see where he used his other shield here. Yeah, so he uses the shield there, the other shield there, and again, it's kind of a thing of like using your your abilities on cooldown, which I think is a big mistake here, and you'll see why in a second. Like that's the kind of thing where like no one's in danger now, right? So it seems like it's fine, whatever. Like I just use my cooldown, it doesn't matter. I'll have it up for the next thing, but like as the fight goes on, like Ryan charges in here, and you see like the Lucio in the back, they res, and then like his Reaper goes for an ult there. Like his Reaper's ulting in the back line, but because he shielded the guy that like a little while ago who still had Lucio beat and was at like full health and wasn't in danger anymore, because he did that, he doesn't have the shield up now, right? So the Reaper ends up dying during his ult, and he only gets the shield up just after the Reaper dies. That's one of the things where like if he'd kept the shield off cooldown, he would have not only been able to save the Reaper, but also he would have gotten more energy from it. It's just about like using the cooldowns when you really need them as opposed to on cooldown. Yeah, they push up. They get a good sag on the Zarya, which is important because she was really high energy. There's only like 6 seconds at touch point, so that's pretty good. You're falling back. That's a good way of doing it when you when it's like the other team has touch point. It's good to kind of like play up a bit and then kind of fall back a lot as they get closer, because they won't really be able to like regroup fully and push you out like normally. They'll have to go to point. They won't be able to fight you properly, and it makes it really hard for them to get there. But yeah, that's the end of the game. Like they win. I think overall, some things I noticed from this gameplay were managing cooldowns is a big one. Just make sure to like I was just saying, make sure to use them when you really need them, not just because they're available. And as well as when you're playing Zarya, make sure to dictate the range well. Like make sure to like stay far when you don't have your shields up, or you're not kind of at a significant advantage, because if you get caught with no shield up, you can get punished really hard. Anyways, yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that and learned something from it. I think this is going to be a series I'm going to try to start doing. So if you guys have any footage of games you want me to review, just send them to my email. It's listed it's going to be in the description, and it's also on my Twitter. Yeah, just send me like a YouTube link to I'd like it to be a competitive game, so a YouTube link to a competitive game, and I will try to do one of these every now and then. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something, and have a great day.